The iPad Pro. Can you finally make this device your only computer, or once again, does it come up just short? This review next on Milton 1T. Apple redid their iPad Pro this year, and before we go over whether you can make the device your only computer, let's go over how the device has changed from the previous model. Let's start with the outside design. Apple reduced the bezels on the left and right of the screen. For some reason, Apple decided to leave the large bezels on the top and bottom. There is a new screen size at 10.5 inches. Many ask, why would Apple bother making a new size? The 9.7 inch was already popular and consumers are starting to gravitate towards smaller footprint electronics. Well, Apple stated they wanted to offer customers a device with a full-sized keyboard. This is not the greatest answer, as the minimum for a full-size keyboard is 12 to 13 inches. The iPad Pro keyboard is about 9. Now let's look at the screen. The display, simply put, is outstanding. The resolution is 2224 by 1668. It has 264 pixels per square inch, which, interesting enough, is still lower than the iPhone at 324 pixels per square inch. Considering the display is larger, it would be nice to see Apple increase the pixels of the screen so it can match their iPhones. As with other features of the display, the iPad Pro comes with True Tone technology that matches the display of the color of the room that you're currently in. With that said, I think the most exciting addition to the screen is Apple's ProMotion technology. ProMotion will allow for the GPU to speed up the refresh rate to 120 Hz from the 60 Hz it normally runs at. What does this mean for you? This means less blurriness when watching media on your screen. Also, when you're scrolling, you will see less lag. Keep in mind, an increased refresh rate is like going from a laptop to a Retina display. Not saying you don't like your laptop screen, but you do notice the difference between your iPhone and a regular display. The iPhone experience is better. As for the accessories, if you happen to be an owner of an Apple Pencil, Apple has gotten the latency down to 20 milliseconds, and you should be able to notice a difference in speed. As for the back of the device, there is a 12 megapixel camera. Although you don't really see people taking pictures of other people with the iPad anymore, taking pictures of objects such as documents and being able to translate them into text may be a strong reason to put a higher-end camera on the iPad. Also, keep in mind, although this is a Pro model, the camera is not going to be as advanced as the iPhone X or the iPhone 8. On the front of the device, there is a 7 megapixel camera for FaceTime. Again, features such as Face ID should be released on the iPad sometime in 2018. So for now, the second generation Touch ID will do just fine. As for the other hardware, there are 4 speakers that get noticeably loud. The speakers are the same or better than most computer speakers. Also, the iPad Pro has an A10X Fusion chip. Many have asked what the names such as Fusion or Bionic mean. Keep in mind, for the most part, they really don't mean anything. In order for Apple to get patents on their chips, they can't just name it A10. But these are custom chips made by Apple, so they are optimized for the device. For the battery, you will get 9 hours of use. On Apple's website, it states 10 hours, so it's not too far off. Companies always state higher than what the device actually gets. Now, what's going to make the iPad stand out is the introduction of iOS. The operating system is going to dramatically change your ability to use the iPad Pro as your main computer. Features such as swiping up to get to a dock similar to the MacBook and OS X. You can also continue adding apps to the dock. You can even do split screen or a third screen if you choose. Drag and drop and serious drag and drop is also an option. So you can take multiple objects and drag them together if you want to, or slide them over to another app. So the question is, can I finally replace my computer? Well, there are people that can and people that can't. Let's go over who those people are. The people that should purchase the iPad are those that use applications such as Microsoft Word to write simple documents, but nothing else. If you are writing a book or use spreadsheets a lot, the iPad will still not be a great option, as more complicated work is still cumbersome without a mouse. Second, if you only surf the internet and you don't use extensions with your browser, the iPad is a great option. Third, regardless if you are male or female, you have to look at the size of the keyboard that the iPad uses. People with larger hands, or if you like using a full-size keyboard, have found it difficult to make the adjustment to a foldable keyboard. Also, keep in mind that you are not pressing the keys down as hard as an iPad keyboard. So, if you are fine with that, then the iPad would be a great choice for you. If it's too strange for you, you are not going to be as productive as you would be on a normal computer. Last, if you are the type of person that wants to get into art or drawing, the iPad Pro has turned even novice artists into pretty good ones. So who's the iPad Pro not for? The people that still do development work. For example, if you are a photographer or a computer programmer, the iPad will not work unless you are doing small projects. Secondly, the people that have a lot of files. Yes, there is a file system on the iPad now, but it's still not the same as a computer. For example, you still can't store files locally like a computer. The files are either stored in an app or iCloud Drive. The only thing the Files app gives you is unified access to everything all in one place. Also, it's still difficult to control where the files are located. If you have a photo, you are still saving the photo to the Photos app, versus a computer that will give you the option of where to store the photo and to name the file folder. So there is still some work to do with file organization. Either way, out of the examples I gave you, whichever category you fall in, if ultimately you choose to purchase the iPad Pro, you won't be disappointed. Also, if you find the iPad Pro is just not for you, you may want to try the MacBook. It can offer the best of both worlds, a slim and light experience, but still has the features of a normal computer. That's it for now. I'm Milton. Thank you for listening.